and gentlemen, gather around. We have yet another sermon from Hollywood's favorite ubiquitous actor-activist, Pedro Pascal. You know, the guy who's in every big franchise these days, Marvel, Star Wars, HBO, you name it, and who just can't resist telling the rest of us how to think. Well, this time, Pedro took his political one-man show to the 2025 Cannes Film Festival, and oh boy, did he let it rip. Bravo, Pedro. Bravo. In front of the international press, this man dropped an F-bomb on presumably half of America and got a standing ovation for it. Meanwhile, someone else, Gina Carano, got fired for a whole lot less. Welcome to the double standard of Hollywood, where preaching from the correct political script makes you a hero, but stepping out of line makes you a pariah. So, at Cannes, Pedro Pascal was in rare form, which it's really saying something because he's usually in every form. Remember, this is the same guy fans are getting fatigued with because he's seemingly in every single role imaginable. But being Hollywood's busiest man wasn't enough. Pascal also had to be its loudest political cheerleader on the Cannes stage. When asked about the current political chaos in the United States, Pascal seized the moment to inspire the crowd with a rallying cry. And by rallying cry, I mean he basically said, "Fear is how they win. Keep telling your activist stories, keep being your true self, and oh yeah, F the people trying to scare you. Fight back." Yeah, he actually dropped an F-bomb on the people who try to make you scared, urging everyone in earshot to take a stand through filmmaking. Because nothing says sophisticated discourse like a middle-aged movie star cursing out his political opponents on the world stage. Now, to be fair, Pascal couched it in slightly more elegant terms, give or take an expletive. Fear is the way that they win, so keep expressing yourself and don't let them win, he proclaimed. He urged fellow filmmakers to fight back by continuing to tell stories that push their activist message. In other words, to make more movies that wag a finger in America's face. That'll show them. The Cannes crowd, comprised of the snootiest of snoots in Hollywood, naturally ate this up. They applauded enthusiastically as if Pascal had just solved world hunger, when all he really did was spout a Hollywood cliche with a side of profanity. So brave. So stunning. You could practically hear the champagne glasses clinking. And let's talk about the film Pascal was promoting while he grandstanded. It's an A24 indie called Eddington, which apparently skewers a divided America. According to reports, the movie pits Pascal's character, a left-leaning small-town mayor, against Joaquin Phoenix's down-on-his-luck sheriff in 2020 New Mexico, complete with COVID mass drama and BLM protests. Subtle, right? Critics have described Eddington as a direct attack on conservative populism. Basically, a cinematic middle finger to anyone right of center. And wouldn't you know it, Variety praised the film's aggressive tone and message, even quoting Pascal, who gushed that the script felt like a form of whistleblowing. Like the first time someone was finally speaking out from the inside, he said. Wow. Not only is Pascal fighting the power, he's a whistleblower now? Cue more eye rolls. I mean, this is the main character syndrome on full display. Hollywood elites genuinely believe their preachy movies will change the world, when in reality, most people won't even buy a ticket. So, here's where the hypocrisy meter goes off the charts. Pedro Pascal can stand on that Cannes stage, hurl obscenities about American politics, basically equate one side with evil incarnate, and suffer zero consequences. In effect, he gets applauded and handed more work. Disney isn't firing him from The Mandalorian for this. Marvel isn't dropping him from their next blockbuster. Not a peep of reprimand from any higher ups. But Gina Carano posts a spicy meme on her personal social media without any profanity, without attacking anyone specifically, and she's blacklisted overnight. Huh. It's funny how that works. Excuse me. Let's recall. Gina Carano, who played Cara Dune on The Mandalorian, shared a post in 2021 that basically cautioned against demonizing your neighbors over political differences. It referenced World War II era history. You know, the part where turning people against each other doesn't end well. Clumsy? Maybe. But outright hateful? Nah. It didn't target anyone. Contained zero slurs or F-bombs, just a historical analogy and a warning. Now, for that thought crime, Lucasfilm, aka Disney, not only fired her, they publicly shamed her with a statement and erased her character from Star Wars continuity. They put her in the pulp culture gulag, folks. Gina has not worked with a major studio since. She was effectively canceled for not parroting the approved political line. Now, compare that to, say Pedro of House Hollywood. Around the same time Gina got canned, Pascal shared his own incendiary social media post, and oh yes, we didn't forget this one. Pedro Pascal circulated a meme that compared a large chunk of Americans to the Confederates, and by extension, to some of history's worst villains. He basically slapped the label of hate and oppression on half the country with that meme. But did Disney chastise him? Did anyone at Lucasfilm say, whoa, that's inappropriate? Nope. Pascal faced no pushback whatsoever. In fact, he kept getting new roles and even public support from the same company that had just shown Gina the door. The message was loud and clear. Hollywood only censors political speech when it's the quote-unquote wrong opinion. Pascal's statements line up with the prevailing progressive ideology in Tinseltown, so he's given a free pass. Heck, a round of applause. Yay, Pedro. Go. You keep going, man. Carano did not, so she's a problem that had to be eliminated. That, my friends, is the textbook definition of double standard. So, here's the delicious irony of all this. Gina Carano's not taking Disney's hypocrisy laying down. She's fighting back in the legal arena, and recent developments suggest she's landed some blows. Carano filed a wrongful termination and discrimination lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilm. I think that was back in 2023. Yeah, it was 2023. Arguing that she was axed for her political and religious views. And guess who's backing her cause? Elon Musk, via funding through X, formerly Twitter. This isn't some frivolous lawsuit, it's a high-profile battle over free expression and double standards. In fact, Carano just scored a major victory in discovery. A federal judge ordered Disney to turn over internal documents, including the salary records of big Star Wars stars like Pedro Pascal himself. That's right, Disney has to hand over the receipts, literally, on what they paid Pascal, Diego Luna, Rosario Dawson, etc. for their Disney Plus gigs. And why? Because Carano's team is looking for evidence of viewpoint discrimination, proving that she was treated differently from peers who engaged in political speech of their own. And guess what? Pascal's recent constant is Exhibit A. Just think about it. Carano's lawsuit claims Disney punished her for politically tinged expression, which would violate California law if proven. Now here's Pascal, a fellow Disney Plus star, openly swearing at and insulting one side of the political spectrum on an international stage. Not only is he not punished, he's still getting prime roles and public accolades. If that's not proof of a double standard, I don't know what is. Carano's lawyers must be salivating at these cons clips. Pascal might have actually complicated Disney's defense by being such a blatant counterexample. He's basically validated Gina's whole argument. Disney's issue was never with political speech per se, only with the kind of political speech they don't like. Oops. That's bad optics in a courtroom, no? As Fandom Pulse and others have noted, Gina is now armed with evidence that Disney tolerates or even celebrates certain actors making divisive political statements, so long as those statements align with the company's preferred politics. It's hard to argue you fired someone for creating controversy when you've got Pedro Pascal on tape shouting profanities about American politics, and you didn't fire him. You gave him a raise instead. So, here's the cherry on top. While Gina Carano fights to get her career back, Pedro Pascal's career is only skyrocketing with Disney's full support. Not content with being the face, well, helmeted face of The Mandalorian, Pascal is now set to lead Disney and Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four reboot. Yeah, he's officially cast as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, in the Fantastic Four First Steps, slated to hit theaters on July 25th. Now just let that sink in for a second. Disney fired Carano from a supporting TV role over a social post, yet simultaneously hired Pascal to helm one of Marvel's biggest films after he's repeatedly mouthed off politically in public. Double standard, thy name is Disney. Pascal's politics are apparently the right kind, so he gets a mega movie deal and another paycheck with Mickey Mouse's face on it. Carano's wrong thing got her tossed out on the street. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. And Pascal is truly everywhere. The man collects franchises like Infinity Stones, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. Remember when he was in Wonder Woman 1984 too? HBO's Last of Us, you name it. Hollywood has basically anointed him untouchable. So of course he feels free to spout off at cons. He knows it only increases his clout with the industry bigwigs. And as one observer quipped, Pascal could probably set the American flag on fire on stage and Disney would shrug as long as Twitter applauded. They've invested heavily in him, from The Mandalorian to upcoming Marvel Avengers projects, so they'll gladly ignore any of his controversial comments. It's the ultimate immunity bestowed upon those with the correct ideology. Meanwhile, Gina Carano's over here having to crowdfund her own projects and fight in court to even get a fair shake. She hasn't been welcomed back into any mainstream franchise since her firing. Think Disney will ever cast Gina in a Marvel movie? Ha! Not unless she renounces her wrongthink and takes the approved oath of ideological allegiance. The contrast is stark. Pascal's activism is celebrated, Carano's dissent was silenced. Hollywood elites like Pascal to get to have their political tantrums and still play superheroes on screen, all while they pat themselves on the back for being so brave. But if you're an independent-minded actress who dares question the narrative, you're out of a job. In the end, what did Pascal's Cannes outburst accomplish? Did it change anything in America? Of course not. It just fed the egos of that Cannes press room and gave Variety and Reuters a juicy headline. It's activist theater, signifying nothing except Hollywood's own self-satisfaction. The real impact has been laid to bear the hypocrisy at the heart of the industry. Pedro Pascal can wear politics on his sleeve and on his t-shirts and in every interview, and he's hailed as a courageous artiste. Gina Carano expresses a viewpoint out of step with Hollywood hive mind, and she's a non-person. Disney will bankroll activist storytelling all day long if it aligns with their PR strategy, but a single tweet from a skeptic and they'll throw their own actress to the wolves. So yeah, Pedro won't shut up, and apparently he doesn't have to. He's protected by the mouse's magic shield of narrative conformity. The Cannes appearance was just the latest example of Hollywood's one-sided fight. They claim to be fighting back against fear and tyranny, all the while enforcing their own brand of fear and conformity within their ranks. The Hollywood elites are playing heroes in their own minds, but the rest of us see this game. It's rules for thee and not for me. So thank you, Pedro, for enlightening us once again with your wisdom. We'll be sure to check out your next blockbuster. You know, the one Disney gave you after clapping for your Cannes speech. And we'll remember how speaking out is only celebrated when it comes from an approved messenger. So let's wrap this up. This is Disney's double standard in action, folks. Pascal gets to rant and call half the country boogeymen, and gets Marvel's first family as his next gig. Gina Carano tries to warn about division and gets divided out of the company. Hypocrisy? It's fantastic. Pun fully intended. Hollywood, clean up your act. Until then, I'll be here calling out the nonsense one woke meltdown at a time.